Philippe Metellus, how are you doing, sir?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thank you. And you?
I'm doing great. First off, before I ask any questions and do this interview with you, I want to congratulate you on qualifying for the Paris 2024 Summer Olympic Games representing Haiti in the sport of judo. So, congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, Philip, I have a bunch of questions that I'd like to ask. First things first, you'll be representing Haiti, as I just said, at the Paris 2024 Summer Olympic Games. It must be an incredible honor. Can you share with us what this opportunity means to you personally, and also broadly speaking for the Haitian Canadian community in the diaspora?
Yeah, sure. Actually, for me, it's going to qualifying to the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. It's like for me an accomplishment of a 20 plus year dream. So since I started judo like at 12, 13 years old, I dreamed of going to the Olympics one day. So now it's really a dream come true. And the other thing that it represents to me is it's like a proof that when you work hard, sooner or later you get the results. For me, it was more later, but you know, so yeah, I've worked very hard for it, and in the end, it did work. So I'm happy. I'm happy for that. And also, it's really an honor to me to represent my country and to make it proud on the international scene.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you said this has been a dream of yours for over 2 decades, 20 years or so. Your journey to the Olympics has come, has been long, obviously, and challenging, I would imagine. What have been some of the most significant hurdles you faced along the way, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, yeah. So I can tell you that the most hurdles that I've faced was the lack of structure and training partners because I'm not part of the Canadian team, so I didn't benefit all the surrounding they had, the all the structure that they benefit. So I had to do everything with my coach, Ernst Laraque. Without him, I would have never been able to qualify. And yes, and that's one of the hurdle that I had, and also training partners because, like, for example, training for Paris, I was training twice a day at noon and in the afternoon. So at noon, I needed to find who was available for me to do judo because everyone is working. Even me, I was working, but everyone was working and they're not doing the the qualification. So the people don't want to train judo at 12, and just doing technical trainings or strategic trainings. So that was very a good obstacle to me. And also a big obstacle was the lack of financial support because I had to finance everything for the qualification to Paris. So all my competitions, all the training camps, all the medical care supplies, and the mental preparation. So everything was on me. So that was very challenging because I had to do all that and still work at like for 40 hours a week. So it was very challenging to me. And also I had a lot of injuries lately. So every injuries had surgeries also. So every time it was a back step. So that was kind of challenging to me as well.
I have a few follow-up questions because I think you've identified some major topics here for discussion. First off, it's really cool that you bet on yourself, that you invested on yourself, and you know what I mean. You saved that money, and you know what I'm saying. Like you put your dream forward, and you put that money on the line because I'm not going to ask you how much it costs, but I can only imagine that it's pretty high up there, you know, with all the flights, this, that, and the other. But it's cool that you did that you know, independently. And I think
Mhm.
10, 20, 30 years from now, when you look back, I think, you know what I mean, you'll be very proud
Yeah.
that you did that all by yourself. But first question, can you elaborate on the importance of structure for an athlete who's dreaming big? How important it is that
Yeah,
structure?
of course, of course. The structure is what what will all the things that is put for the athletes, around the athletes, to allow them to concentrate only on what they have to do, which is training and going to competitions. So, like for example, they have like they have training partners, you know, in here the Canadian national team, they have training partners coming all over Canada and sometimes all over the world. They have a physiotherapist there with them every day. After every training, they can have massage, they can have anything they want, you know, any care they want. When they go, for example, in competition, they don't have to struggle or to think about anything like taking their flight tickets or getting to accreditation on time or all the administrative things that they don't have to think about it. And well, yeah, that these are a few examples. So for example, me, I had to think about everything. So every time I travel to a competition, I need to take my ticket. I need to know when was the time of the accreditation. I need to know what at what time the bus leaves, like the regulation, if there are some special things that I need to know. So that's why like I had to make friends all around the between all the teams just to know what's going on when I'm on out on competition. And in training the same thing, you know. I was very lucky to have Ernst, my coach, because he did very very good work with me, was always available. So yeah, but that's how the structure is important to an athlete.
Yeah, I really appreciate hearing all that because I think sometimes as fans of these sports, we're not aware of how much goes, you know, how much happens as far as the administrative side from the booking the tickets, you know, as far as the tournament, this, that, and the other, and the financial challenges. We tend to hear about that from other grappling sports, you know, where a lot is the athlete has to rely on themselves in terms of
Yeah,
funding
yeah,
and crowdfunding, this, that, and the
yeah.
other. But you've got a unique sort of story, if I can call it that. You know, you're obviously living in Canada, but you are representing Haiti.
Yes.
And in addition to that, I think one of the other challenges you mentioned was you did mention lack of training partners. And correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I live in Ottawa, and when we think of Montreal, it's a huge hotbed for combat sports. It's particularly judo, and there's a bunch of dojos. Obviously, the national team is there. They have a great facility, as you mentioned, with all the key support that they need to to go out there and fight. But I guess my follow-up question in regards to the Montreal scene is, aren't there a lot of other judokas also available for training? Is there
Yeah,
like a
actually, most of the thing is when the judokas they want to go at a higher level, like international, they are kind of forced to go to the national center.
right?
You know, so all the little clubs they stay with people that don't have aspiration to go to international levels, which
Mhm.
is correct, you know. Well, which is correct, and yeah, yeah, which is correct. If you don't want to go to high level, you stay at your club. But for me, I was working, I was training both at my club and at the national center. But when I
Okay.
go to the national center, I'm by myself, so my coach is not with me. So yes, there are a lot of training partners, but there is no one to look at me to say, hey, like you should do this, hey, you shouldn't
Right.
do that, you know?
Right.
So it's like it's the same thing when I go to competition. I'm always by myself, so with no coach. So I'm on the mat, on the competition mat, having to think about all the strategies, everything that everything, you know. And the opponent, he has his coach on the chair, like coaching him at every stop. So yeah.
I gotta tell you, it's really fascinating to hear this, and I'm curious to know what's it like to travel alone. I mean, you were in West Africa, and then you were in South America. What's it like traveling alone and pursuing this dream, and this journey? What is that like when you're doing it
You
independently
know,
and
it's
solo? Because when I'm hearing this in my mind, I'm just picturing you, like you've got your ticket, you've got all these things, you've got to think of all these considerations. And it's interesting too because you have a background in accounting, which we'll get into. So,
Mhm.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure there's a lot of transferable skills there,
Yeah.
beyond the number crunching, in terms of strategic planning, this, that, and the other. But what's it like when you're out there solo, trying to do your thing? What explain that to us. What are some of the
Yeah.
emotions in
Yeah,
that?
travel, I can't tell. Like honestly, traveling alone, it's a mix of various feelings, you know. You travel alone, so you're not with a team. The good part is you're not tied to anyone, so you can do whatever you want, wherever you want, you know?
Right.
You don't have to follow any team. You don't have to go to eat at the same time, or all the things that come with being a team. But the downside is when you travel alone, you need to think about everything. You need to think about everything, and like when I go to competition, I need to find who I'm going to train with.
Right.
Like because we usually arrive a few days before. So during those few days I need to train. So I have to look at the participation list to see who's there. Who am I going to write to say, hey, do you wanna train later at like 6 p.m., you know?
Mhm.
And same thing for on the competition day when I'm alone. So I need a warm up partner. So I go to some people that I know, some friends that are on a team, or some of them are alone as well. So we put together and do the warm up, or we cheer up each other, you know. And the other thing is also when you travel alone is nobody really asks for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everybody is minding their business. They're like focused on competition, so they have their team. They don't want to mix with other people, you know?
Right.
And sometimes it can be really lonely, like really lonely. And when I go I used to when I go to travel for weeks, like let's say 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know, after the second weeks, it's getting very, very hard on the mental,
I
and
could
I
imagine.
feel very homesick.
I could imagine. So again, I think this is a very interesting sort of reality we probably don't hear much about, athletes traveling alone. And I'm sure, as you mentioned earlier, you've made friends. Obviously, you're competing and training with people, and you've got your training partners. one quick follow-up on this. Can you mention any of these training partners or which country or just out of curiosity, because you mentioned other folks are out there following
Yes,
you.
yes, sure. I have some friends on the US team. I have a friend of mine who was on the Bahamas team. He was traveling alone. I have some friends, some people on the Canadian team, but they usually they stick together. Um, some people on the Dominican team. Yeah, I have a few friends on the Dominican team. Um, which other team? Um, yeah, yeah, on the Spanish team, some of them, some people from Africa. Yeah. Usually the people were by themselves as well.
That's fascinating. Because sometimes when you listen to the stream and you can hear if you listen close enough, like for the Canadian team, sometimes you can hear voices yelling and supporting their athletes. And
Hmm.
and you can tell who that. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've heard some voices cheering on other, because obviously the loudest voices tend to be training partners, right?
Yeah,
More
yeah,
or less.
definitely.
And I'm thinking in your scenario, when you were in Ivory Coast recently,
Yes.
what was it like fighting out there? I mean, you're on the other side of the world, essentially, and you're kicking ass, right? You're doing your thing. And
Yeah.
what I mean, and it was the crowd there was hype, by the way. Like they were. I mean, I wasn't there, but I saw it
Yeah.
on jujutotv.com, and they were really engaged. They brought their own flavor to it, obviously. But what's it like when you're out there fighting and you know you're absorbing the energy from the crowd and
Yeah. It's funny because the competition in Ivory Coast, I really felt like being at home in
mm,
Haiti.
mm,
Because like in Ivory Coast, Ivorian people, they really look like Haitian in term of culture, in term of way of being,
right.
way of celebrating, of partying, you know. So I really felt like home. And when I was fighting there, like I felt that I really like the spirit there,
Mm,
you know. Yes, I took an ivory in the final because
right.
I finished silver. I won the silver medal, and I took the Ivorian in the final. But it was it was crazy, like the crowd, how they were cheering the Ivorian guy, and it was yeah, it was something to be on that mat because
It
they
was
were
it
yelling.
was incredible. They were yelling and supporting him, like
Yeah,
they were fully
and
behind
me,
him.
I was alone, like with no coach, only by myself.
Right.
So I need to face that. But it was a very good feeling. Well, good and weird feeling at the same time, you know.
For
But
sure, for sure.
yeah.
Now, well, we're going to get back into the topic of competition and so on, because obviously, this is a sport, it's competition. But as you mentioned, you work, you're a busy dude, you're a busy professional.
Yes.
You work, but you also find time to train twice a day, as you mentioned. And I'm curious to know, balancing a career in accounting with being an elite judoka is obviously not easy, I would imagine. Do you
Mhm.
find any parallels between the precision and strategy required in accounting and judo? Maybe there's an advantage to calculating your opponent's moves, just like crunching numbers. I know
Yeah.
I'm kind of like just making things up, but
I'm going to tell you something interesting. It's that it's both in both way. Yes, there is some similitude, some yeah. There are some things that you find in accounting and that I apply in judo. For example, being detail oriented or very meticulous. That's a very good thing you have when you're you need to have when you're an accountant, but it's good in judo as well because everything is in the detail. When you're throwing an opponent with a move, you need to know where to put your foot, where to put your hand, how to do this balancement. It's very detail oriented. But on the other side, I think that some of the characteristics that are very good in accounting, they tend to be less welcome in judo. For example, in um in accounting, you need to calculate everything and get the exact results and make
Mm.
sure you don't make like yeah to get the exact results and analyze everything. But in judo, that happened to me too many times that I overanalyze. So I want to know what's going to be if I do this and that, and at the end I fall in the what we call paralysis by analysis.
Oh, right, right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So in that way, I think that's yeah, accounting can be a bit different than judo because
Now,
judo you need to just let it go.
is that analysis in the pre-planning phase, as in like when you look at who you're facing and or is it in the match
In the
situation?
match,
Oh,
in the
wow. Okay.
match,
Okay.
yeah. And my coach, we always argue about this because he's like, you think too much when you're fighting. You think too much, or because like I'm a CPA, so when you go in the you work in the company, you to make, like, for example, an audit. You're like,
Mhm.
okay, what's wrong in the company? What can they be hiding?
All right.
So if you go in that with that mind in judo, it's more like you're being negative, trying to seek the error or what's not good, which is not which is not appropriate in judo.
Fascinating. In terms of like assets and liabilities, like if you were going to coach an athlete right now and tell them like this is an asset in judo, like incredible grip strength is an asset. Uh, Lack of flexibility is a liability. Or sorry, yes, is a liability. Give us a few, if you don't mind. Sorry, I'm kind of nerding out over the fact that I'm looking for analogies that are accounting based, but if you could entertain us for a second and kind of play along, what would you say is an asset as a competitor? Well, what's an asset and what's a liability in your opinion?
Um, I think that being resilient, it's an asset. Being like determined, like keeping your eyes on the prize, keeping your eyes on the work to do, being ready to do the same thing over and over and over again without getting tired. That's an asset in judo. Because, for example, me, I can be in the middle of a match and I do something in the grip. I see it's working. So I do it a second time. I see it's working. Then I get tired of doing the same thing and I do something else and I get scored, you know.
Mm.
So being focused on the task to be done, that's an asset.
Now, in terms of you mentioned obviously you're busy and you got to train twice a day and you've got this career going. What do your fellow accountants and people, like how do you balance actually, first of all, how do you balance your time from working professionally and training professionally, quite frankly. Well, what's your approach? How do you go about doing that?
Well, you need to what I do, I look at what are my priorities. So that's something to do. You look at what your priorities and then you schedule your day, your all the things you have to do around them. So my priorities were training judo and work for these were my two priorities. So what I did, I went to work, or if I was doing work from home, I work in the morning, and then after I go train at 12, and then I go back to work, and I finish my afternoon, and then at 7:30 again I go back to work. So it was really like full day of working, training, and at the end of the day, I was I was very tired because my day finish at like 10 p.m. It starts
Wow.
at 6:30 and finish at 10. No. So that was my routine for a year or 2 years. But at the beginning of at the end of January, I had to take a break from work because it was taking too much time, really too much time. I couldn't focus anymore as I should on the qualification because it was I was traveling everywhere,
Wow.
doing training camps, you know.
Right.
Like I remember I was working from Tokyo, from Australia, like waking I was in Tokyo for a competition and a training camp, and I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to take the meeting with my manager,
Oh my
which
God.
was which was like 5:30 or 5:30 p.m. In Montreal. So I
Wow.
started working at 4:30, then I stopped at 8:30, something like that, go to training, then go back to the hotel and start working back again. And after I get some sleep, then wake up again at 4:30 a.m. Same thing when I was in Australia. Like I had to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, like at 5 in the morning, and to work. Then, it wasn't easy, and that was very tiring because I had lack of sleep. My mind was tired, my body as well. So I needed to take that decision to say, okay, you know what? Until the qualification ends, I'm going to take a break from work, which I what I did at the end of January.
Wow, man, bro, that's incredible, man. Like that is it's stories like that that I must say I love hearing because it's people never really understand the full scope of someone's life in terms of their dedication to their goals or to their passion. And I don't want to use the word sacrifice, right? But people make sacrifices, right? They find balance and waking up at 4:30 a.m. to be right on the same time zone as the Eastern time zone here in Canada because you were in Japan. Like that's incredible, man. That's it's I think it's moments like that that I guess show one's dedication, right, and their resilience to try to kind of make it work. And it's also, quite frankly, it's also a little crazy in the sense that, we hear a lot about work-life balance. That's something that a lot of people are talking about. In your case, it's interesting because it seems like, there's not much balance if I mean, there is, of course, there is. You're making it
Yeah.
work, but it's incredible because it's the pursuit of two. two busy things, work and being a professional athlete at the same
Yeah,
time.
people thought I was crazy, and so many people told me,
But you know
oh,
what? Sorry to interrupt. Don't you have to be crazy in order to pursue these big dreams? It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like
yeah.
you
I think
cannot be
I think
common.
I'm crazy. Yeah, I'm crazy in a certain way.
I mean, it's practical and it's in a positive way, you know. But I mean, I don't think if you have big dreams and big goals, you can't be on a, a timid or you have to take big moves. You gotta, you know what I mean?
Yes,
You
yes, exactly.
have
Yeah,
to,
I agree. I
otherwise,
agree.
otherwise it's the return, there has to be some risk involved. There has to be an assessment of that risk and a commitment and a way forward, right? It's not people can play it safe or they can dare to pursue and you're clearly doing that and it's just fascinating as someone by no means am I comparing myself to you as an athlete or anything like that but I as someone who has projects and hobbies on the side sometimes I've woken up super early in the morning to do my own personal work, and I'm like, why the
Mhm.
hell am I doing this? It's like, what, I do it
Yeah,
because I
but
love
only
it,
you
but
will understand why.
that's it. That's
Yeah,
exactly it. And
yeah,
and at the end of the day, it's you're doing it for like I speak, you know what I'm saying? Like you're doing what you do because you know why you're doing it, and it's
exactly, exactly,
uh,
because when you're happy or when the thing get realized, when what you've been working for so long finally happens, you feel proud, like when I had the results, like that I was qualified. I was like at a point I was like outside, and by at the point I was by myself, and I just started smiling
wow,
just to me, and I was like we made it, and I was
wow,
talking to me, and I that was enough for me because it was a bet between me and me. So
yeah.
yeah,
They say happiness is an inside job, and that inner smile is worth more than any
exactly,
external
exactly.
smile. Incredible. Of course, you were alone, as you were saying. You were alone with this. Where were you exactly physically? Where were you
Oh, when I had
in
the when I had the result, I was with my partner,
okay.
and I had the results on my phone, and I just dropped the phone and and
Wow.
started jumping, and she was very very happy for me, and because she's been very helpful during all the process, and it's been very hard for her as well, you know,
Right.
and so yeah, that I was at home, and after I contacted my family, I was like, you know what, I'll get qualified. Let's go eat something. So we went to a restaurant just to eat. It was like 9 p.m.
Nice. Well, what did you
9
guys
p.m.
eat?
on Sunday.
What did you eat?
Uh, Tacos.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good.
I bet, man. It's a very, very small percentage of the global population will get to experience what you and the other athletes will experience in Paris. It's a
Yeah,
very, it's one of the most unique sporting event, global event in the world. It's truly exceptional. And once you're an Olympian, you're, as they say, an Olympian for life. Now, when I think I saw on Ernest Laraque's Instagram page, he made the announcement, of course, and there was a caption written that spoke about the 20-year journey that you were on. And we're going to dive into that again. But in terms of that journey, you obviously you trained under Ernest Laraque at Kiseki Judo. How has his coaching philosophy, excuse me, influenced your approach to both training and competition? And are there any specific lessons from him that stand out?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, his philosophy like had an impact on all my judo, because he's a friend of mine. He's like it's like family, he's a mentor. I studied judo at his father's club in Haiti. I was 12, so I know him since I'm 12 years old. Yeah, one of the things that that he does, that he keeps telling us, that was very important to me is, no matter what your state of mind is, you just have to do the work. You have to show up. Sometimes I don't feel like training, but I still need to show up. Like I don't think I've missed training just because I didn't want to train, you know. That I don't If that happened, like I can count it on one hand because I just didn't want to train. No, that's one thing that was very important, that he was teaching us. And I also applied that at school when I was at university. I don't think I've ever missed a single class just because I didn't want to go to school. Like, if let's say I had class on Friday morning and I did go out on the Thursday, I would go to class either way. If I had to sleep a little bit in the class, but I was there, And that's the philosophy of always show up and do the work. And yeah, and also Ernest is one of the most positive person I know. As soon as there is a single drop of hope, then nothing is lost. And that's why I kept going until the end with the Olympic qualification. Because with all the injuries, I had surgeries, I missed a lot of competitions, and the comeback was very hard to me. Now, at some point, I was like, "Oh wow, am I going to qualify?" Like the hope was very low. But he was like, "You know what? As long as there is hope, just keep show up."
Hmm.
So I kept showing up. I was training. I didn't know why I was training, but I was there doing the work. And in the end, it paid off. It paid off. So I'm happy for that.
Can you speak to us on some of the injuries? I know you mentioned that earlier on in terms of one aspect of the challenges were the injuries, and I believe you said you had surgery as well. Can you kind of explain some of the injuries you've had?
Yeah, yeah. For example, during doing when I was doing the Tokyo qualification, because I did the Tokyo qualification as well, I had a major foot injury while I was in a competition in Europe, and I had to undergo surgery, and that took me what, 8 months, 9 months to get back, and it was very very hard on me on the physical side because it was a big surgery. So this made me lose a lot of qualifying competition, and at the end, I have not been able to qualify for Tokyo. Big part of it was that injury. And last year, in the month of April, I had another big injury at the elbow. I was in Turkey, and I fell on the elbow and I torn one of my ligaments. So I had to go on the surgery again. And this took a lot of time, like 6 months, something like this. And the recovery was very hard. And I still have pain in my elbow because the doctor, the time I was supposed to give the elbow to completely heal. I just couldn't because I was going to miss too many competitions and I wouldn't be able to make enough points to qualify. So I needed to go back on the competition, on the training before the required time. So that was the another major injury. And yeah, and it was very, very hard to come back to the level I was before the injury.
Whenever I hear about injuries and like just the sheer resilience and the focus athletes have as far as coming back after the injury, the time off, and how it impacts them psychologically, of course. Them not being able to do their sport, obviously, it can impact the emotion. I've heard, but just the comeback story after an injury and the refocus, it's always remarkable, right? It just goes to show how incredible the human body is, especially, but the human
Yeah,
spirit, right? People
yeah,
wanting to come back, and I think as fans, we tend to just see the big throw, the submission, and we pop and react for that, and get excited because it's fun, but sometimes we don't take account, or maybe we do, it depends. We don't take account for, man, that person just got injured and they're out for God knows how long. But
yeah.
you know, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and put on I'm gonna sound like an accountant for a second and say, when you were injured, did you do like a cost benefit analysis and just ask yourself like, okay, maybe it's time to just transition out of competition? Like, did that ever cross your mind in terms of like that, especially when you're injured, do thoughts
You
of
know,
like just and I'm sorry for being so blunt about it, but
no, no, no,
accountants
no,
are
no,
are
no,
all
don't worry, don't worry. You know that never no, that never crossed my mind to just stop doing what I do. The I remember when I injured my elbow. I was in Turkey. I was supposed to go in Cuba for another competition, but I needed to go back to Montreal right away. And when the doctor after the IRM, after the images, he told me that I needed a surgery. I was like, wow, okay. First question I asked him was, so how long? That's the first question I asked him. How long before I go back to training? Because it wasn't in my it wasn't an option to give up. The only thing that would make me give up is if I just couldn't do it.
mm,
Let's say I break something and then if I go back, there is a big chance of, I don't know, not being able to walk or whatever. Maybe, or even here. But I don't know if you see what I mean. Obviously, when you first get injured and you know you'll need surgery, you're like in denial. You're like, oh wow, why me? That's not true. I can't believe this. I was at my high and now I need to step back for 6 months. But I can tell that after the comeback, things were so hard. I was like, do you think I will be able to qualify? The thing is so hard. Do I really want it? But I think I got that question a few seconds. Then after it was gone, I was like, you know what? I'm going all in. Because the thing is, I wanted to have no regret.
mm,
I wanted to be like 10 years from now and not being like, oh, if I knew, if I did this or that.
right.
That's the thing. Like, if let's say I didn't qualify for Paris, I would have been very sad and disappointed, but at least I would have said that I did my best. I did, like, here for Paris, I did all I could. Like, I could have not done more, honestly. in terms of sacrifice, in terms of training, in terms of competition, of medical care. Like I did everything that I could in my knowledge. No.
You sound like a very driven person, a confident person, and someone who intrinsically, believes, in himself and his goals. Were you always like that? Like, let's go back 10 years or even 15 years in judo. What was, because you said earlier on that initially your dream when you began, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, was to make it to the Olympics. And that's a big, I mean, that's the biggest goal you could ever put out to the universe. Were you always confident in yourself uh, throughout the journey?
No, no, not at all. Not even like until I get qualified. So many dubs, you know. After the injury, I had a big lack of confidence
Mm,
in my judo. And I was like, wow, like is it me? Like can I be at the top level again? Can because I was doing some competitions and some competitions and losing against some opponent that normally I should have never lost, you know? And it was all in the mind. All in the mind because I was so not confident about my elbow, about the strength, about getting having back my shape or my judo, you know. So no, that it has not always been like this. No, far from it.
One more question in regards to your coach, Ernest Laraque. What was the first conversation you had with him after you found out you qualified? What did he say to you
Uh,
besides the congratulations and all
he
that, of
to- he told
course?
me he told me that he was very proud of me, that I didn't put down the towel, you know,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
I've been through all these things, but he had already told me that whatever happens, that I should be proud and that he was proud of me for all the things that I've done. And here with the qualification, he was like he was so happy. I think I've seen him happy not that many times because
mhm,
I he's like a brother to me and I'm like a son to him, you know.
mhm.
And so it's a very special relationship with him.
Now, as you prepare to compete for the Olympics, and we're literally a few weeks away from the
Yeah.
games, it's insane. And here I am asking about your training regimen and what it looks like. What are you doing now? Like we're what 2.5 weeks away, if I'm not mistaken. What
Yeah, you know, now I try to enjoy the process because until the qualification um news, I was not enjoying it because I was so stressed on making points, on doing competitions, and my body was tired. So now what I do, I try to enjoy every day of the process. So when I'm at training, I try to have fun. I try to well, I do the work, you know, I train hard, but with a good spirit.
Mm.
That's how I I'm leaving the next few weeks before leaving for Paris.
Are you doing anything additionally in terms of because it's such a special time for all these athletes who are partaking. It's a once in a lifetime, or maybe not once, but it's your first time there.
Yeah,
What
that's my first time, yes.
what are you doing to document this experience? Anything
Um,
that you're doing to
at a certain point, I had a journal that I was writing after each competition, and well, I stopped writing this journal after my injury.
hmm,
But since January, I documented a few of my travels with my on my phone, either by writing in some notes or by doing some voices, you know. That's that's how I document it. But after I really want to document all my journey to the Olympics, maybe I was thinking about maybe writing a book, I don't know, to do like from CPA to Olympian, something like this, but that's another project.
it is another project, but it's an interesting one because you already have like potentially in this like multiple audiences if you think about it, like it's
Yeah, because I really want to inspire people and to let people know that if you work hard for what you think, you'll get the results, you know. You get the results and you will learn a lot of things through that journey.
absolutely. And it's interesting too because in from just my experience interviewing a lot of judo folks in Canada and elsewhere, it seems that a lot of them are professionals, in different career paths, but they're all professionals. If it's accountants
Yes.
like yourselves, engineers, lawyers, doctors, I think the discipline, architects, and so I could go on, you name it. It's like I think the the benefit of training in the sport, I suppose, the discipline, the focus has
Yeah,
is transferable
actually,
elsewhere.
you know when you're a high level athlete, you have a lifestyle that comes with it, and
Mm,
that lifestyle is impacted in all areas of your life. That's why, honestly, like if I have a company and I need to hire an employee, and he told me that he was an Olympian or he was doing high level competition. You know, there are a lot of boxes in the on the paper that will be checked just because of that. Because I know
absolutely, yeah.
what these people do in their life to get to that level. And those are some of the qualities that you're looking for people when employing them, you know?
Absolutely. They have the traits, the characteristics
Exactly.
of
You
a
know
high
they're
performer,
disciplined,
an
you know they're
effective.
determined. You know that tells you a lot of them without telling you without telling a word, no, without saying a word.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm nodding my head in agreement. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about, if you don't mind, because I think we're touching on a lot of interesting side subjects, but we're not talking much about judo for judo's sake. Describe your judo, your approach as a competitor. If you can kind of give us a description for those who may have never seen you
Yeah,
compete,
yeah,
or
sure.
actually even for those who may not even understand the sport, because I think that's one of the challenges with anyways, I don't want to go on that tangent because that's something
Hmm.
else, but give us a description of your
Yeah,
style.
yeah. Well, I think me, uh I'm more powerful judoka because I'm not tall and I'm pretty bulky. So I think that in terms of strength, that's one of my advantages. So I use that on my opponent and to make them to break them. You know, I make them feel the strength and I can say the aggressive type who is going for the throw. But that this also has some downsides because I get tired easier than other guys were more calm during the fight, you know? So yeah, I could describe myself as the guy who is going to for the big throw, who is going for yeah, and I'm more a standing guy, so I work less on the ground. So yeah, I go for the big movement with strength and speed.
Have you trained with Arthur over at the
Yes, yes, yes.
oh, okay, yeah, well, what's that like training with him?
For example, me and him were like two opposite, two opposite judokas.
Right.
Because he's the very tactical guy. He's calm. He has good kumikata. So I know that when I fight with him, I have to go I have to go to work on the strength, on the aggressivity. Because if I stay calm like him, he will have me. He will have me because he's more technical and yeah, he's more technical than me. He has yeah. So with him,
I'm a
I should
huge fan of his groundwork. Sorry to interrupt. His groundwork
yeah yeah, and his groundwork is very
is
good.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't go on the ground with him. Yeah. So
Who else? That
if I fight him and I want to beat him, it will be touch. It will be on up. It will be touchy was yeah.
let's say you guys match up when you're in Paris, like,
Yeah.
and you're fighting him. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage? I guess what I'm asking is, would you rather face people you faced before or familiar with, like the
Um
Filipino guy? I think you fought him in Lima as well as Abidjan, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. Well, I will definitely prefer the Filipino guy. It's the it's not the same level,
Hmm.
But do I prefer some like if I have him first round in Paris, it will be all right. I will take it.
Hmm.
I will take it and be on the mat with confidence. So the best player in that day will win, but I will give all what I can to win that fight. And that's the same thing for either of the opponents I will face.
Hmm.
I'm not going to give any respect, even if you're like the world champion or the like Olympic medalist. Like honestly, we're in the Olympics and I have nothing to lose, so I will fear no one.
It's interesting, yeah, because I think in a way the pressure tends to be on as you described it, like for if this is your first time, you're going in, you got nothing to lose, so
Exactly, and
you're
yeah,
in a fight.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
let's face it, I mean, in a fight, and anything can happen. I mean, it's not, there's no, um, with any sport, regardless. I mean, tonight you've got Argentina playing Canada in
yeah.
football. I think the last time I checked the score, sorry, I'm just going to quickly check the score. It was 1-0. Oh, it's 2-0 for Argentina. Anyways, the point I'm making is I think people listening to this will appreciate your attitude going in, that you don't care who it is on the other side, if it's former Olympic champion or whomever. You're
Yeah.
in for a fight and you're going to go 110%. Do you get nervous before?
Yes, I do. I really do well, yes, I do get nervous, but I try to work on my nerves. I do a lot of meditation before competitions. I do a lot of self-talk
Nice.
during the competition day. Like it's like reciting, like it's like saying prayers. The
It's
way I
so
do
it's
the
so funny you mentioned that, because in your fight, and again, I apologize for interrupting.
yeah.
Um, at the end of your match, which match was it? Before going into the finals in Abidjan, I believe it was. it's as if you were talking to yourself. Correct me if
Oh
I'm wrong.
yes, yes,
At
I
one point,
was.
we could see
I, I,
you.
I
Yeah, I
was
was like, wow,
at
is he?
at every
And it was
matches.
prayer. I believe it because I'm like, it's like, it was almost like you were reciting something and you're
Yeah,
saying prayer.
I have some paraphrases that I recite to me, well, in some situations, you know.
Mm,
So in that way, you don't have the bad the bad thoughts that you
right.
could have. They don't have space
Mm.
because your mind is on something else.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Yeah, no, it was awesome because I remember seeing that and I was like, man, like it's this guy, like he's all in. Even his soul is in it. You know what I'm saying? Like his spirit,
Yeah.
like and it was cool to see. I'm not trying to over dramatize it, but when I saw that, I was like, that's interesting. And it's cool because I think your coach had mentioned how vital, meditation has been for him in
Yes,
sport and
yes.
in life. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, I was saying yes, I agree.
And it's cool that you're also you also do that as well as obviously it has many benefits. Now we're just I think an hour into this interview. I have a couple of more questions if it's okay. I know we're going
Yes, yes, no
over
problem.
over our time here. Now, judo has a rich history, but it's often less highlighted in countries like Haiti. What does it mean to you to bring this sport to a broader audience? And how do you hope to inspire young athletes in Haiti and the Haitian diaspora?
Okay. Um, like judo in Haiti is it's kind of popular, you know. I think after soccer, like yeah, people like to do judo,
Okay.
but on the international level, it's different. We've had some good judo players in the past for Haiti. But it's been a few years that we haven't gone like people doing results on the international scene. So that's why I'm happy that I've been able to bring some medals to to the country since I started my Olympic journey in 2017. And for me, it's important to show the world that like what they think about Haiti, it's not what it is, you know? And
Mhm.
it's funny because so many times I'll go to training camps that when I go ask some guys to do randori, to do a fight, and they look at my flag and they see Haiti, and they're like, okay. And when we start fighting and I throw them and they're like, whoa, okay, I wasn't expecting that from a guy from Haiti, you know? And these are the stereotypes that I want people stop believing, you know?
Mhm.
And that was for me important to show to everywhere I go, that to show people that, you know, like I have the international level and I'm here and I can beat the guys, you know. That's something that was very important for me going out there in competitions and training camps. And for me it's very important to encourage the kids, especially in Haiti, to to follow their dreams, you know, because we have so many talents out there and they just need to be polished. And yes, so if if I do something like one of my dream is to to give back what I learned during those last years, giving it to the young generation. Because I know like I've learned so much and I want people to do not have to struggle the way I did by just telling them, okay, you should do this. You should go that way. You should do you know you see what I mean?
Hmm.
So yes, yes, that's my goal after the Olympics.
Now I see that on your in terms of qualification, you're the only Haitian, you're the sole Haitian judoka who'll be going to Paris.
Yes.
Etienne is not going, right?
No, no,
No,
she's not going.
no. And does she train? Can you tell us a little bit about? Do you know her?
Yes, yes, I do know her.
What?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about her, because I believe,
Um,
yeah.
she's a 52 girl. She's young,
Mhm.
and I think she's someone who has a lot of talent, and she's very intelligent. And I think again, with a good structure,
Right.
she could do very well. I really think that. So if she has the good structure, the good entourage, she would be able to do to give some good results, I think.
Where is she based out of?
She's based in Haiti.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. She's based in Haiti, and sometimes she goes train to Dominican Republic.
Right, the DR, yeah, because they have a very, as I was speaking to your coach a couple of weeks ago, he was mentioning that the DR has really stepped up with their judo. Obviously,
Yes,
they're doing very
yes,
well. Have you
yes.
trained there? Have you gone to training camps there as well?
In DR?
Mhm.
No, 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 because the national the international athletes in DR, they don't train in DR. They
Right.
train in Spain.
Okay.
So the all the number ones and the ones make doing great results, they train in Spain.
What's your favorite place to train? Like which training camps?
My favorite place is Spain.
Spain, eh? Okay.
Valencia, yeah.
Well, why is that? What is it that you like about Valencia?
What I like it's well, there is a training center there, an international training center there. You always have like good level judokas from all around the world. Like everyone goes train there, and the spirit is so good. You know, it's a very family spirit. The coaches there, they're very family oriented, and you have the beach right close by. You have good food, good weather, and you're in Europe, so all the competitions like are closer to you, so it costs you less. So you go train there, you then after you do competitions, you go train there. Actually, I wanted to do the Paris qualification, the Paris preparation there, but at the end, I just I didn't go. You know, I didn't go because it was I didn't receive any financial support from the authorities in Haiti, so I stayed in training in Montreal.
So all of your activities as far as your judo training camps, your trips, all that is self-funded, yeah?
Everything.
Wow.
Everything. And that's why, for example, for the last sprint of preparation and stuff, I've launched a campaign, a fundraising campaign to help me with that. And because
Sorry, when did you launch it?
I launched it last weekend.
Okay, where can we find? I haven't seen this. Is it on social media?
Oh yeah, actually, I only put it on Facebook. I have to put it on Instagram. It's a Make a Champ fundraising
Right. Okay.
campaign.
Yeah, if you could, yeah, please post it. And I mean, I'll share it. No, not that I have a big audience like that, but
No, but
but
everyone who can share it, it's a good thing, you know,
mhm.
because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm sending it the link to people via WhatsApp or
Nice.
Facebook or whatever, you know, just to spread the word.
And please tell me you guys are going to book more like interviews with media and all that. right? Like, are you guys going to do more media?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Sorry, because I'm coming from that communications perspective, and I'm in my mind, I'm sometimes I won't get into that because that's a whole different
Yeah.
tangent, but I feel like well, actually, you might appreciate this when you do like a comparative analysis between some sports and how like athletes, I'm talking about like individuals, how they, uh, I guess it's a different culture, but it's some sports are, some athletes and some other sports are very into the promotion much more than others. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
and I don't, it's not a criticism of the sport. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just a different culture of promotion. But I think it makes for interesting conversations when you look at the communications and marketing
Yeah,
success.
well, me, I'm not, that's not my, that's not my strength.
No, fair enough. No, no, it's not a criticism or anything
No,
like
no, I know, I
that.
know.
I just
That's why I don't do that often,
right, right.
all the
No, I
marketing promotion things and yeah.
no, for sure. I think what you tend to see is most of the time there's an outsourcing of that. So what ends up happening, like in even at a for emerging, let's say mixed martial art athletes that are not on the amateur side but on the pro side, for the most part, they have like managers, right? And
Yeah.
managers, if they have all their ducks in a row, they do many things. One of which is PR and a lot of communications for their athletes, which ties into other sort of revenue potential revenue generation as far as sponsorship goes, and they have a whole workflow for that. And that's it's a different it's a different beast altogether because you're anyways it's more
Yeah.
it's more relevant in other sports. But I'm curious to know in terms of so you mentioned Valencia being your favorite spot, and obviously, you're a CPA. You speak, I believe, three languages.
Or
Uh, Four. There you go. Like you could technically work abroad. Would you relocate to Europe if the opportunity presented itself, since you like Valencia so much?
um relocate for permanently, not yet, no. But for example, when I start back to work and everything, I will go to do 1 month there, 2 month there, because
Nice.
right now with the opportunity to work to work remotely,
Mhm.
it really helped. So that's yeah, that's what I tend to I'm expecting to do.
Portugal is another hotspot for what do they call like a digital passport where people can work abroad. Like during the pandemic, I know there was a lot of people moving there for
Yeah.
work, cost of living and all that. It's supposedly it's a real hotspot for all that. What's your least, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer this one. What's your least favorite place in terms of for training camps,
My
if you
least
have one?
favorite,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't have one. Huh? I don't have places that I really don't like.
Who's the toughest opponent? Who's the toughest opponent you've ever had? Like someone that you want to rematch with desperately.
The toughest
Mhm.
or the one I want to rematch desperately?
Give us both, actually.
Well, I think the toughest opponent I've had was it was the Cuban. Well, yeah, there was the Cuban, but I fought him at the beginning. So when I was like getting good, and yeah, I fought him like I think 3 times, and I lost all the fights against him. His name is Estrada, but he retired now. and he was very, very, very strong opponent. I think he was the strongest guy I've fought.
Okay.
And one guy I thought that was very good as well was the Japanese world champion Hashimoto.
Wow.
I fought him in Osaka. I fought him. That's funny because I fought him in Osaka, and it was after doing 3 weeks of training in Tokyo, and I was very ready for that Grand Slam. But I had first fight Hashimoto.
Damn.
And later I think he finished. Did he win the? No, he finished second. He lost another against another Japanese guy. Yeah, but yeah, this this guy I would want a revenge against him. Maybe I will have him in Paris. Maybe.
That would be quite something. So you were actually looking forward to fighting him again, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. How was speaking of Japan, if you don't mind, I know we have two more questions left, but I'm curious to know how was the experience there in the training camp
Oh,
for you?
best experience ever.
Wow. Well, why is that?
I think like in terms of judo, it was the best experience ever.
This is
I
in
think
Osaka, yeah?
it no, it was I trained in Tokai University.
Okay. Okay.
It's like an hour and a half away from Tokyo.
Okay.
I've been training there. It's a university and a lot of world champion train there. And for me, it was like, wow. I'd never seen so many strong judokas. And it was like, I don't know, it's like it was like going back to the roots, because judo is from Japan. And I was like here training like in Japan with like a bunch of world champion there on the mat with me, and it was amazing. I trained twice there in Tokyo, and yeah, I think every international judoka they have to go at least one time training in Japan. Like not necessarily in Tokai, but there are so many places, good places to train in Japan. Yeah, that it was my best judo experience.
How many times did you get thrown?
You know what's funny? I didn't get thrown that much.
Okay.
Actually, I threw more than I got thrown.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, because I think the Japanese they didn't like my aggressive style, you know,
Mm,
because Japanese they have a really um classic style
right.
that I like. And but yeah, it's I got thrown. I got thrown, but I think I was so like so motivated and so ready for them. I can say that the first 2 days were the hardest, you know, just to get time to adapt a bit. But after that, it was good. I really liked it.
What was the volume of the randori? Like how many?
Oh wow.
Like
You know
unlimited?
that that was the first time I went to Japan was the first time I experienced that. I was there first fight because they gave us like a red belt, and they put us in the middle, and first fight it was a 5 minute fight, and I gave all myself, and I was ready to go. After the fight ended, I was ready to leave the mat, and the people was like, "No, you have 7 more fights to do."
Jesus.
So it
Wow.
was like 8 fights, 8 fights of 5 minutes. After 4 fights, they gave you a 4 minute break, and after you had to go fight again. So I can tell you after like the fifth fight, I was like dead. And that's where I got thrown a lot because I had no more energy.
Now, did you sign a waiver? Like, do you sign a waiver when you go
No, no,
into?
no,
No, eh?
no,
Okay,
no. So if I
interesting.
die, I die.
That's brutal, man. Now, looking ahead to the competition in Paris, what are your personal goals and expectations for the Olympics, and how do you mentally and physically prepare for such a significant event? I
You
guess
know,
go ahead.
mhm.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
My honestly, my expectation for Paris is to give my best, to give it all. It's a one-time experience, like for me at least. And I want to I want to give the best of me. I want to represent Haiti with dignity, and I want to have fun.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
man.
I want to have fun on that mat and leave the mat with no regret and get on the mat with no stress, no block, no break, nothing. Just go there and do my judo.
Hmm.
That's what I want when I step on that mat.
When do you leave, Philip?
I live on the 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and fight on the 29th.
Now, are friends and family, do you know if they're coming to watch and
Yes, yes,
support?
yes,
Okay.
yes. My partner, she's coming. My parents, they're coming. My brother, my niece. I have some friends coming as well. So I will have a few people there. I'm happy.
That's awesome, man. Now, obviously, it's the 100th year anniversary of judo in Canada. If I can ask you, what does that mean for you? This major milestone for judo in Canada, celebrating its 100th year.
Well, what I can say is Canada has they had step over. Like they for since it's been a few years that they've taken another level on the international scene. I think since bronze medal, the Olympic bronze medal from Vala Forte, it it has made a switch to the Canadians that they can reach high level. And since that they've been doing pretty good. They've been doing pretty good. So yes, I think they've done a good work during those last years.
Absolutely. Finally, reflecting on your dual career in accounting and judo, what advice would you give to aspiring athletes who also juggle other professional commitments, if it's work, if it's school? And how do you maintain balance and excel in both fields? Is that even feasible or possible?
Um, I think it's both feasible and you need to make it possible, because like when something looks hard, people tend to go for the easy answer, which is
Mm,
it's too hard, I'm not doing it.
right.
But I think that if you work yourself to find a way to do what you want to do, you will always find a way. It's just to put your priority, as I said before, you list your priorities and you work around them. And if you're like a professional, try to find a company that has a good culture for sports. Try to find a manager that supports your sports career, and you on your side try to be the most professional as you can as a as a as a as a worker. And so it's life is given, you know.
Mm.
If they give you something, you need to give them something back. So be professional, do your work, and try to find someone that goes with your conviction and in the culture. And I think that you need to fight for your dream
Mm.
because that's one thing that people just can't take away. So if you believe in something, go for it, you know.
Wow. My friend, thank you very much for this interview and those really,
Thank you to you for your time.
yeah, no, I really appreciate hearing all this. You've shed some light on an interesting sort of story that we don't hear much about, and I think I learned a lot here, and I appreciate your openness and your willingness to share. And more importantly, congratulations again, and all the best at the games. We look forward to seeing you fight.
Thanks a lot.
And
Thanks a lot.
yeah, man, I'm sure you're going to represent, and you got a lot of people all over cheering for you. So yeah, man, all the best, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.